Hi there, it's Catherine here from Lullaby Lodge, and today I'll be showing you how to crochet the Granny Sweetheart baby blanket. So you're going to need some double knit yarn in two colours. I'm using Drops Charisma. You'll also need some scissors, a darning needle, and both a 4.5 and a 4mm crochet hook. So the blanket is made with these really cute heart granny squares joined together at the bottom and top of the blanket with the granny stitch in between, and then this cute spider stitch edging. So we're going to start by making the first granny square. So we'll start with a slip knot on a hook and chain 4 and join with a slip stitch to that first chain. Then going to chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet, and we're now going to be working into the ring. So I'm going to put 2 double crochet into that ring, and then chain 2 for our first corner, 3 double crochet into the ring, chain 2 for the corner, and again another 3 double crochet into the ring, chain 2, and our final 3 double crochet all into the ring. And then we'll do our chain 2 for that last corner. I'm then going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. Okay, so our next round is going to be in the same colour. So we're going to slip stitch across to that corner space. So slip stitch in the next 2 stitches and then into the corner space. We'll chain 3 for our first double crochet, and then we're going to work our corner as usual. So another 2 double crochet into that corner, chain 2, and then 3 double crochet into that same corner space. So you can go ahead and do the same into each of these corners. So 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into each of those corners. And then we'll finish the round by slip stitching into that chain 3 from the beginning. Now this next round we're going to start the colour work. So first of all we need to get to that corner, so we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches and then into that corner space. Then go to chain 3 and then put 2 more double crochet into that corner, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochet. Okay, so we've got this space along the side. We're going to put 3 double crochet in there. 1, 2, and the last double crochet we're going to change colour. So we're just going to do the first part of that stitch, then we're going to drop the cream, we're going to pick up the pink, lay the new colour over the hook and just finish that stitch off with the new colour. We do need to carry the cream over, so we'll hold that to the corner and work over that. You can also work over the pink tail as well. So we're going to put a double crochet into that corner, followed by 2 more double crochet, chain 2 for the corner, and then 3 more double crochet. And we are going to be changing colour on that last stitch. So we'll drop the pink, pick up the cream, finish that stitch off, carry the pink across, and then 3 double crochet into that space. And then again on this last stitch, changing back over to the pink. So drop the cream, pick up the pink, carry the cream across to the corner, finish that last stitch up, and then work a corner as normal. So that's 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and on that last stitch, changing back to the cream, remember to carry the pink across, and then we've got 3 double crochet into that side space. Now the next corner we're staying with the cream, so we will carry the pink across to that corner. Make sure you're always working over the carriage yarn as you go. So we've got 3 double crochet, oops, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. Now on this last stitch we're going to change back to the pink, so we just work the first part of the stitch, drop the cream, pick up the pink, finish off that stitch, carry the cream across to this last space on the side and 3 double crochet. Now we do need to join with a slip stitch to that first, to the top of that chain 3, so whoops, so I do need to change back to the cream for that. So we'll drop the pink, pick up the cream, and then join with a slip stitch to the top, that chain 3, and I'm just catching the cream, the pink as well, so we can take that across, because the next round we're going to need the pink. So I'm going to slip stitch across, carrying that pink, till I get to the corner, and then I can fasten off with the cream. Okay, so we finished with the cream yarn, so the next round is done entirely in the pink, but we are going to be picking up some of those longer floats and catching those up a little bit and trying to tidy those up a bit on the next round. So we're going to put a hook in this corner space, and we're going to take the pink, draw it through, chain 3 for that first double crochet, and then we're going to put 2 more double crochet into that same space, chain 2, and then 3 double crochet, now in each space across the sides we're going to put 3 double crochet. That's 1, 2 and 3. Now in this next space you can see here we've got this float, so we're going to catch that. So we're going to put 3 double crochet into the next space. We're also going to crochet over that float. So that's 1, 2 and 3. So it might look like it's more visible at the front, but you can just kind of tuck that back. So this corner is going to be worked as usual. It's 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. So we're going to keep working around in the pink. Each time you get to a space at the side, it's going to be 3 double crochet, and you're going to catch up these floats as you go around, and each time you get to a corner it's 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then we'll join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. So you're going to want to go ahead and add an extra round to your granny square, exactly the same as the previous round. And then for the next granny square, you're going to work up as far as round 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and then we're going to use the join as you go method to join to this square. So we're going to start by slip stitching across to get to that corner space. So it's slip stitching the next 2 stitches and then into that corner space. I'm going to chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and then put 2 more double crochet into that corner as normal. And now instead of chaining 2 for the corner like we have been, we're just going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into this corner space here, like so, and then we'll chain 1, so that counts then as our 2 chains for the corner. We're then going to continue with our corner of this square with another 3 double crochet into that same corner space. That's 1, 2 and 3, and we're then going to join to this next space along the side of this square just here. So we're just going to slip stitch in there and then carry on with 3 double crochet into this next space. It's 1, 2 and 3. And we're just going to repeat this across the side of the granny square with a slip stitch into each space along the side, and then continue with another 3 double crochet into that next space. So I worked across the side, and we're now at the corner again. So we're going to start with 3 double crochet into this next corner space. That's 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to just do this exactly the same as we did this other corner. So it's chain 1, then you're going to slip stitch into that corner space, chain 1, and then finish off that corner with 3 double crochet. That's 1, 2 and 3. So we can now go ahead and finish off the rest of our granny square. So we're going to put 3 double crochet into each of the spaces along the sides, and into each corner 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So I worked all the way around my square, and I'm just going to join with the slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 and then fasten off. So you're going to want to go ahead and repeat this process until you've got a total of 6 granny squares. For the purpose of the tutorial, I'm just going to continue on this small swatch here. So you're going to switch over to your larger hook, that's a 4.5mm, and we're going to put your hook into the corner, the top right corner of your strip of granny squares, and we're just going to pull this yarn through and chain 3. Now this counts as our first double crochet. We're going to put 1 more double crochet into that corner space, and we're now going to continue by putting a granny cluster, that's 3 double crochet into each space across. So that's 3 double crochet into this next space, 1, 2, oops, and 3, and then 3 double crochet into the next space. We put 3 double crochet into the next 2 spaces, and we're now coming up to where the 2 squares are joined. So we're going to start by putting a double crochet into this first corner space. We're then going to double crochet 2 together over the 2 spaces. So you're going to yarn over, put your hook into that corner space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, put your hook into the next space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops, and then we're going to finish with another double crochet into that corner space. And now I'm going to continue with 3 double crochet into each space across until you get to this last corner space, and we're going to finish with 2 double crochet into that last space. That's 1 and 2. We're then going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now we're going to look to the previous row to see how many stitches we've got at the beginning. So we can see here we've got 2 double crochet at the beginning, and then we have a space between the next cluster of stitches. So because we've got 2 in this previous row, we only want to have 1 at the beginning of the next row, and then we're going to go straight into this space here with 3 double crochet. That's 1, 2 and 3. Now I'm going to continue putting 3 double crochet, that's a granny cluster, into each space across, and when you get to this space here where we did the double crochet 2 together, you're going to count that as 1 granny cluster. So you're just going to keep working a granny cluster in each space all the way across. We're coming up to the end of the row here. I'm going to put granny cluster in this last space. That's 3 double crochet, and you can see here we've got 2 double crochet from the previous row, just like we did at the beginning here. So we're going to end with 1 double crochet into the top of that chain 3, like so, and then we're going to chain 3 and turn. So now we can see our previous row only had 1 double crochet at the start, so we're going to work straight into this space here with a double crochet, so that now we've got 2 stitches at the start. So it's always going to alternate the row. So we've got 2 stitches at the start in this row, then 1 stitch, then 2 stitches, and then we're going to continue by putting a granny cluster into each space all the way across, and then we're going to end by putting a double crochet in this last space and then another one in the top of that chain 3, so it matches up with the beginning here. So I'm at the end of the row. I'm just going to finish by putting 1 double crochet in that space, that last space, and then another one in the top of that chain 3. So you're going to go ahead and work a total of 31 rows in the granny stitch, and then you can fasten off. You're then going to want to go ahead and make another panel in exactly the same way, and once you've done that, you'll be ready to join the 2 panels together. So I've got my 2 swatches here ready to join. We're going to join using the matress stitch, so you'll want to get a roughly 3 times the length that you're joining. And then you want to thread that onto a darning needle. So you're going to want to just join in your yarn, leave a tail long enough to sew in, just put an extra stitch in there just to secure it. So we're going to be going just kind of through the back loop. So you're going to go just through the back loop. So you're going to go into that first stitch and then out through the second stitch. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. So you're going to go in and out on the next stitch. And then you're going to go in to where you previously came out of, and then out on the next stitch. And you're going to repeat this for around 5 or 6 so stitches, and then you'll pull the yarn to draw it together. I wouldn't leave it too long before you pull the yarn, otherwise you can risk breaking your yarn, especially if you're working with wool. So once you've gone through a few stitches, just hold the tops of your blanket and then just gently pull, and it will draw your crochet together. And it creates a pretty much invisible seam. So you're just going to continue working all the way across. Once you get to the end, you can just sew that end in. Now before we add the border, we're just going to do a little bit of prep. So from the rows of granny stitch you have, we're just going to add a row of slip stitches just where the granny stitching, the edge of the granny stitching is. So not where you've got the granny squares, but just the rows of granny stitch. So just going to join in that corner of the granny square with a slip stitch. Pull that tight. And then we're going to put 2 slip stitches into the side of each stitch. So where you've got your chain 3 at the start, very loosely going to put a couple of slip stitches in there, and then just going into the sides of the stitches, just put 2 stitches in each. Now how many stitches really is going to depend on your tension. If your tension is a bit tighter, 2 stitches might be too many, so you're really going to have to just kind of see how it looks. If you find your edges are getting a bit ruffly, that means that you've got too many stitches. So you're just going to go ahead and put your slip stitches nice and evenly down the edges of your granny stitch. So I've just got this last stitch to work into. And then I'm going to finish by slip stitching into that corner space and then fasten off. And you're going to repeat this process along the other side. So we're now ready to add our border. So we're going to be using our contrast colour. So I'm going to start with the slip knot on my hook. I'm going to go in with a standing half double crochet. So if you put your finger on the slip knot, then just yarn over and hold that with your finger. And then we're going to be working into the back loops here. So any stitch along the side you can start off in. And we're just going to put a half double crochet in there like so. And then we're going to continue with a half double crochet in the back loops of each stitch, and we're going to be doing this all the way around the blanket. So once you get to a corner space, we're going to put 3 half double crochet into the corner space, and we're going to be doing exactly the same in each of the corners of the blanket. So that's 3 half double crochets into that corner space. Now if you need to, you can go ahead and put a stitch marker in this middle half double crochet here, just so that you know which one you're working into on the next round. And then we're going to continue across the side with a half double crochet in the back loops of each stitch. So at the moment we're working along the sides of the granny square, so keep going with a half double crochet, working in the back loops only until you get to the granny stitch portion of your blanket, and then we're going to start working into the back loops of those slip stitches. So it's a half double crochet into the back loops of your slip stitches all the way across that granny stitch portion of your blanket. And so eventually you'll get back to the granny square portion of the blanket, and you're just going to carry on doing the same, working a half double crochet into the back loops of every stitch. So we're coming up to the next corner, and just like we did in the previous corner, we're going to put 3 half double crochets into that corner space. That's 1, 2 and 3. And as I said before, if you need to, you can go ahead and mark that middle stitch. That's the second one. So you're now going to continue in exactly the same way, working all the way around your blanket. So you go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you when you're ready to add the next round. And once you get to the end, you're just going to join with a slip stitch to that first half double crochet. And now we're ready to start round 2. We're going to chain 1. This doesn't count as a stitch, and then we're going to put a half double crochet into that same stitch through the back loop, and then we're going to start by putting another round of half double crochets into the back loops, just as we did in the previous round. So I'm coming up to the corner here. Once I get to center stitch, which is this next one, I'm going to work through both loops only on this stitch. I'm going to put 3 half double crochets through both loops onto that center stitch, and then I'm going to carry on working through the back loops with a half double crochet in each stitch. So you're going to keep working all the way around, and each time you get to a corner you're just going to do exactly the same as you did in that corner. We're just going to join to the top of that first half double crochet to finish off the round. And now we're ready to add our final round of the border. So I'm just going to chain one. This doesn't count as a stitch. I'm going to put a single crochet into that same stitch, chain two, and then another single crochet into that same stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch in the following stitch, single crochet, chain two, single crochet, and we're just going to repeat this around. So we skip the next stitch in the following stitch, single crochet, chain two, single crochet, and as we get to the corner we're not doing anything fancy in the corner, so we're just going to skip the next stitch, and in the following stitch, single crochet, chain two, single crochet, and we're just going to repeat this all the way around the entire blanket. And the corners just have like a gently rounding edges around the corners. So you go ahead and work all the way around your blanket with this spider stitch edging, and then you're just going to finish by joining with the slip stitch to that first single crochet, and then you can fasten off. So once you're finished, your blanket will look something like this. Now I really recommend you do block this, especially if you're using wool. I pinned mine out and I stretched it quite a bit to get it into a really nice shape, and to get a really nice drape. I sprayed it down quite heavily with water and let it dry, and you do get a beautiful drape. And if you love this baby blanket tutorial, then be sure to check out my crochet blanket playlist right here on YouTube. Bye bye now.